Congratulations, father agreed to the marriage at last. The morning opened its golden eyelids for you. Warm light spilled across the floor like blessing water. Your breath trembled with gratitude. The sky looked wider than it ever had. A breeze lifted your hair as if offering its own approval. Nothing in the world felt heavy anymore. Even the silence had music hidden inside it. Your mother's smile carried years of quiet hope. Her hands fluttered like soft birds. Your heart expanded beyond its walls. Dreams long folded began unfolding their wings. Every corner of the house remembered your waiting. Every memory aligned itself toward this one bright moment. You felt the world shift gently toward happiness. Outside, the leaves shimmered with promise. A scent of jasmine braided itself through the air. You walked through the hallway in a daze of joy. The floor hummed beneath your feet. You wanted to laugh and cry at once. A prayer rose unbidden in your chest. Your eyes filled with grateful light. The day breathed with you, calm and radiant. Your voice caught when you tried to speak. Your mother held your hands and understood. Nothing needed explanation. The universe had said yes. Your waiting years softened into tenderness. You felt carried by grace itself. Every step you took felt lighter. Every breath felt sacred. The courtyard greeted you with open brightness. Shadows hid their faces from your joy. The sun leaned in like a blessing elder. Your pulse drummed a melody of relief. The wind kissed your cheeks with celebration. You whispered thank you to everything that could hear. The sky held your whisper gently. A soft echo returned. This is your time. Your beloved's name shimmered in your thoughts. You imagined their smile when they heard. You held the moment close like a warm cup. Your mother's laughter circled around you. The house felt alive again. Walls that once echoed with uncertainty now glowed with peace. Even the distant hills seemed to nod in approval. Hope spread its roots deep within you. You wrapped your arms around your mother. Her warmth steadied your trembling joy. You felt the years of longing dissolve. Love had finally been given permission to bloom. You ran your fingers along the doorway. The wood felt like an old friend witnessing your triumph. You stepped into the garden to breathe fully.
Petals loosened themselves and drifted to your feet. The world was choreographed to your happiness. No sound was harsh. No thought was heavy. Everything sparkled with meaning. Your spirit swelled like a rising tide. You felt strong, rooted, new. A soft memory of your beloved's voice accompanied the breeze. You smiled without trying. Birds hopped closer, curious about your radiance. You whispered, he agreed. The garden listened. It seemed to sigh with relief. You touched the nearest flower in gratitude. Its petals answered with gentle softness. You walked slowly, absorbing each second. You wanted to remember this day forever. The soil beneath your feet felt warm, like the earth itself was celebrating. Your thoughts danced ahead to the future. A shared home, shared mornings, shared laughter. The life you had imagined was now within reach. Your heart bowed in humble joy. You breathed deeply, filling your chest with hope. Your mother called your name softly. Her voice was full of pride. You turned and saw tears in her eyes, happy tears shining like little suns. You rushed to her and held her again. She whispered blessings into your hair. You closed your eyes and absorbed each word. The blessings rooted themselves in you. Your father's decision echoed through each breath. A door once closed had opened, and with it, a world. You lifted your face to the sky. Clouds drifted lazily, unhurried and peaceful. You felt in harmony with everything. Even your shadow seemed to glow. You touched your chest, feeling your heartbeat. It was steady, sure, joyful. You walked to the veranda and sat for a moment. The chair creaked kindly beneath you. You looked at the world as if seeing it anew. Colors appeared brighter. Sounds felt deeper. Life seemed freshly washed. Your spirit sang wordlessly. You imagined telling your beloved, their eyes widening with relief and joy, your hands intertwining, your lives finally aligning. The future no longer a distant dream, the present no longer a cage. You felt gratitude return like a warm tide, again and again. It covered every thought. You whispered thank you into your palms. Your palms grew warm with the blessing. Your father's footsteps sounded in your memory. Strong, steady, thoughtful. You honored his journey too. His hesitation, his fears, his eventual yes. You held no resentment, only appreciation. Because love had won, because courage had risen, because prayers had found their home. You stood again, unable to sit still in your joy. Movement felt natural. Life felt fluid. You walked a slow circle around the veranda, every step humming with meaning. You touched the railing, tracing its old patterns. Even the cracks felt beautiful today. Your mother returned with a cup of tea. The steam curled between you like a blessing thread. You drank slowly, savoring the sweetness. It tasted like celebration, She sat beside you, resting her hand on yours. No words were needed. The moment was enough. Your heart rested in calm joy. You watched sunlight play across the floor, dancing, shimmering, delighting in your happiness. The air felt gentle on your skin. Your thoughts drifted to your wedding day. Garlands, music, warm smiles. Your beloved waiting at the end of the aisle. You walking toward them with steady joy. Two paths finally becoming one. You felt the future align itself quietly. Peace settled in your chest. You closed your eyes and breathed deeply. The world breathed with you. Everything was right. Everything was blessed. Everything was new. The breeze shifted softly, carrying distant music. Someone nearby was humming a familiar tune. It wrapped around you like a silken ribbon. You let the melody settle into your heart. It felt like a sign, a gentle affirmation. Everything today felt like a sign. The world seemed determined to reassure you. You rested your elbows on your knees, your fingers intertwined thoughtfully. You imagined your beloved hearing the news, their face brightening, their breath catching in joy, the relief washing over them like warm rain. You imagined the way they would hold you, tightly, gratefully, reverently. The two of you united not only by love, but now by blessing. You pressed your hand to your chest again. Your heartbeat still drummed its soft celebration. You whispered their name into the open air. The air accepted it gently and carried it away. Your mother stepped inside for a moment. You were alone with the breeze and sunlight. You leaned back, letting the chair rock slightly. The movement calmed your overflowing heart. You felt your muscles loosen in relief. Your shoulders softened. Your breath deepened. You closed your eyes and listened. The world had a rhythm today. It moved like a quiet river. Nothing hurried, nothing pushed. Everything flowed at its own perfect pace. You felt carried along with that flow, supported by unseen hands. You lifted your face to the warm air. It wrapped around you like a shawl of comfort. You felt safe. You felt blessed. You felt chosen by fate for this radiant moment. Your mind drifted to the night before, how you had prayed with trembling hope, how you held your breath at every sound, how sleep evaded you, tiptoeing just out of reach. But today that heaviness had lifted. Your spirit felt feather-light. You rose and walked toward the garden again. The soft earth welcomed you. Grass brushed your ankles, cool and delicate. Birdsong fluttered in the air like golden confetti. A butterfly drifted close to your hand. You smiled as it hovered gently. Its wings reflected sunlight like stained glass. It danced around you before gliding away. You whispered a blessing after it. You followed the path between the flowers. You touched petals with reverence. Their softness reminded you of tenderness, of promises, of new beginnings. You paused beneath the mango tree. Its branches spread like open arms. You placed your palm against its trunk. The bark felt steady, ancient, wise. You drew strength from it silently. You felt your breath steady again. A few leaves drifted down. They landed near your feet like small green notes. Nature had a way of celebrating with you. You looked out across the yard. The light shimmered on everything it touched. Nothing felt ordinary today. Even the stones glowed with quiet joy. You reached up, brushing a low branch. It swayed slightly in answer. You stood there for a long moment, simply breathing, simply being, letting joy sink into your bones, letting gratitude anchor your thoughts. The world felt wide, open, welcoming. You lifted your hands to your face. Your cheeks were warm with emotion. A soft laugh escaped your lips. Light, airy, blooming with disbelief and happiness. You walked slowly back toward the house. Your steps were unhurried, almost floating. The veranda welcomed you again like an old friend. You stepped inside. The cool shade gently embraced you. The familiar scent of home wrapped around you. You touched the wall as you passed. Solid, dependable, constant. Today, everything felt like a companion. You walked to your room. The door creaked softly as it opened. Light filtered through the curtains. Dust particles glimmered like tiny stars. You sat on the edge of your bed. The softness pulled you in. You leaned back against the wall and sighed. The sigh carried years of waiting out of your chest. You looked around your room. Memories lingered in every corner. Late-night conversations, hidden tears, secret hopes, whispered dreams. And now a new beginning touched everything. You reached for the small box beneath your pillow. Inside were letters, notes, tokens of your journey with your beloved. You opened the box slowly, carefully. You held the first letter. Its edges were soft from years of touching. You read the familiar handwriting. It felt like hearing their voice. Line after line carried affection, devotion, patience, dreams for the future. You pressed the letter to your chest. Your heart answered it with warmth. You placed it back gently. Your fingers lingered over the others. You closed the box and held it in your lap. You whispered, "We made it." Your words were soft, reverent, full. You felt a tear escape the corner of your eye, but it was not a painful tear. It was a blessing tear, a tear of release, of fulfillment. You wiped it gently and smiled. Your reflection in the window smiled back. Your eyes sparkled with something new: peace, certainty, joy. You stood once more. The box still in your hands, you placed it carefully on your desk. Then you walked toward the door. The hallway seemed brighter now. Your mother reappeared carrying folded fabrics. She looked at you knowingly. You looked at her gratefully. She placed the fabrics on a nearby table. Colors like sunrise, patterns like celebration. Preparations had already begun in her heart. You knew it instantly. She didn't say anything, but the way she smoothed each cloth was a language of its own. You approached her and hugged her from behind. Her shoulders relaxed under your touch. Her hands covered yours gently. No words were needed. Your heart spoke everything. You both breathed in harmony for a moment. The world outside glowed with the promise of union. A gentle rhythm pulsed around you, a rhythm of new beginnings. You pulled away softly. She turned and kissed your forehead. Her lips left warmth behind, a warmth that would not fade. You looked into her eyes. They shone with mother blessing. You felt your chest swell with gratitude again. You whispered, "Thank you." She squeezed your hand, then went back to arranging the fabrics. You watched her for a moment, then stepped back into the sunlight. The sunlight welcomed you like an old companion. It draped itself across your shoulders. Warm, gentle, reassuring. You stepped into the yard once more. The air tasted sweeter than before, almost like ripe fruit. You inhaled deeply, letting the sweetness settle. Your heart felt like a lantern glowing from within. You touched the railing again, absent-mindedly. Its smoothness grounded you, as if reminding you that joy can be steady, not only fleeting. You walked a few steps toward the open gate. Beyond it, the world hummed with possibility. Children's laughter rang in the distance. The sound carried innocence and celebration. You closed your eyes to listen better. Each giggle, each shout, each playful call braided itself into your joy. Even strangers unknowingly added to the music of your day. You felt the edges of your lips lift in a soft smile. Your feet itched to walk further, to walk into the world as a person newly blessed. But you lingered, savoring the moment. You leaned against the gate. The metal was warm beneath your palms. You traced its patterns thoughtfully. Little spirals, little flowers, little swirls. Designs you had seen 1,000 times, but never with such tenderness. You murmured a quiet thank you to the world. Not loudly, just enough for the wind to carry. The wind accepted your gratitude. It brushed past your face in reply. You stepped outside the gate for a moment, stood beneath the open sky. The horizon stretched endlessly, a path you would walk soon with your beloved. Hand in hand, side by side, equal hearts, blessed union. You imagined your wedding day again, the soft clinking of bangles, the rustle of silk, warm voices singing love songs, hands arranging garlands, candles flickering, smiles unfolding like flowers. Your beloved waiting at the center of it all, you walking toward them with steady grace, your eyes meeting in a quiet promise, a lifetime beginning in a single shared breath. You felt your chest tighten with emotion, a sweet ache, a golden ache. You pressed a hand over your heart. It beat with hope and certainty. You whispered their name again, this time louder. The wind carried it into the world. You felt connected to everything, every leaf, every ray of sunlight, every distant sound. Everything seemed to share your happiness. You turned back toward the house. Its familiar outline glowed in the afternoon light. It looked like a place preparing for celebration. You stepped inside again. The doorway felt like a threshold between old and new. Inside, your father stood quietly. You froze softly, unsure. But his eyes met yours with calm acceptance, not stern, not distant, just human, just father. You approached him slowly, your steps careful, reverent. He waited, hands clasped loosely behind his back. The air between you shifted, warmer now, brighter. You stood before him, heart thudding, but not like before, not with fear, with gratitude. He looked at you for a long moment. His eyes softened, lines around them eased. He cleared his throat gently. The sound broke the silence just enough. He said nothing at first, but his presence said everything. Approval, acceptance, a quiet love. You lowered your head respectfully. Your father reached out and placed his hand on your shoulder. The gesture was simple, but it held years of meaning. You felt warmth spread through you. You lifted your eyes to him. He nodded once. A small gesture, but monumental. You whispered, "Thank you, Father." Your voice trembled, not with fear. With reverence, he gave a faint smile, rare but real, a smile that softened everything inside you. He squeezed your shoulder gently, then walked toward the living room. You watched him go, your eyes stung with emotion. You stood still for a moment, letting the reality of his acceptance settle fully. The silence around you felt sacred. You turned slowly toward your room again, your steps softer than before, gentler, as if you were carrying something precious inside you. Because you entered your room once more. The sunlight had shifted warmer now. It painted long golden shapes across the floor. You walked to the mirror. Your reflection looked transformed, brighter, calmer, happier. You touched the glass lightly, as if greeting yourself anew. You whispered, "This is real." Your reflection whispered it back. You laughed softly at yourself. The sound filled the room with joy. You sat on your bed again, letting your feet dangle. The room felt like a vessel of good news. Every object seemed to smile. The walls held your joy gently. The curtains fluttered with approval. Your pillow seemed softer. You stretched out your legs. Your toes curled into the rug. You leaned back on your palms, breathing slowly. You felt every breath as a blessing. You felt every moment deepen into your heart. You closed your eyes again, smiling. You whispered your beloved's name once more, this time with certainty, with belonging, with joy that reached all the way through you. You imagined their laughter when you told them. You imagined the way they would hold your hands. You imagined their relief melting into happiness. You imagined the plans you would now make together. Wedding colors, dates, prayers, homes, names, futures woven side by side. Your throat tightened with tenderness. You pressed your fingers against your lips, holding in the emotion for a moment, then letting it out in a shaky breath. The day felt infinite, a day made of soft miracles. You felt yourself floating inside its grace, wrapped in its gentleness, held by its blessing. You stood again, unable to stay still. Joy demanded movement. Your body followed willingly. You paced the room slowly, touching objects as you passed. The lamp, the dresser, the books you once read to ease your waiting. All of them now part of this new chapter. You touched your earrings, your bracelets, simple things, yet suddenly significant. You felt the future calling softly through everything, a soft invitation, a tender promise. You placed your hand on your heart again, closed your eyes, and let yourself feel it all.